Welcome to the Craft House, everyone. If you are new, my name is Vanessa. On today's DIY video, I'm going to use two of the Dollar Tree wood gingerbread house plaques in order to make a full 3D house. I have another house that I did prior to this. It's also on my channel. I will link the video to that house throughout this video in order for you to see the full way that I built the frame for this house. So make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, where I post super quick and easy DIYs. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I post new videos every week. Now let's get on with today's craft. So for this project, I'm going to take two of the wooden gingerbread houses from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make a full 3D gingerbread house. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting them. The painting process on this house is going to be a little longer because I want to paint almost everything a specific color. I'm going to use pastel colors in pink and green and blue. So let's begin with painting. The paints are all from Michaels. They're regular acrylic paints that I already had. Again, I'm going to use pink, some white, green, and some blue. So let's continue. So now that I've finished painting both of the pieces of the gingerbread houses pink, I'm going to go in with a sort of a grayish blue, and I'm going to do the windows and the doors and the trimmings of the house in this color. So let's continue doing this part. So now that I've finished with the windows, I'm going to take this sage green gloss acrylic paint and I'm going to paint the trees on both of these pieces. I'm not going to add a 3D tree like I did on my previous house. I will link the video up in this video. These I'm just going to paint green along with the wreath. Then at the end, I'm going to add some beads to them. So let's finish painting the trees and the wreaths. So now I have the trees and the wreaths painted green. I'm going to take some white paint and I'm going to do the snow trim on the windows. I am going to use puffy paint later on, but I do want to have them already painted white because I didn't give this house a full coat of white paint underneath. So the wood still shows through. So I don't want to see that. So I'm going to give them a coat of white paint. Let's continue with this part. So now that I built the house completely, I didn't record it on this video, but you can watch the process in the first video where I did my first gingerbread house. Now I'm going to take some of this light spackling, which is from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to coat the roof of the house with this spackling. I want it to be covered with this in order to, one, hide any imperfections that I might have on the piece of wood, and two, I want it to give it the illusion of fondant, what you put on cakes, or of a frosting. So what I'm doing, I'm taking a popsicle stick and I am adding the light spackling to both sides of the roof. Let's continue with this part. So now that I finished the spackling on the roof, I'm going to start to add the trimmings to the house. And my final step is going to be to use the caulking. I'm going to use the beads on the trims of the house. These, they're like sticker pearls that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use them on the borders of the house and also on the trees and on the wreath itself. So let's continue with adding these pearl stickers to the house, and I'm going to use some hot glue to adhere them so they won't fall off. Let's finish this part. Now I'm going to add some of the pearls to the trees and to the wreath. I have a bead picker, but for some reason these pearls are not sticking to my bead picker, so I'm gonna have to do these individually by hand, which is a little bit time consuming, but it is the look that I want to achieve. So I'm going to do these one by hand, and I have to hold it with my hands, so I'm trying to be very careful not to burn myself with the hot glue. So let's continue decorating the trees and the wreath. So now that I've finished adding the pearl beads to the trees and the wreath, I'm going to use this caulk to do the details on the windows and on the roof and on the sides of the roof. Dollar Tree has caulk, but I couldn't find it, so I just bought this at a hardware store because I needed it to finish this house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it look like it's icing, and this tube of the caulking is pretty easy to use because it has a nice tip, and the caulking comes out nice and clean, and it looks like frosting. So let's continue with this part. So now that I'm almost done with the trimmings, I'm going to take some fine iridescent glitter, and before the caulking dries, I'm going to add some glitter to it to give it a little shimmer. And you could add the glitter and it will hold to the caulking as long as it's still wet and not dry. And you don't have to use any Mod Podge or anything or glue to adhere it to the caulking. So let's finish off this part. So I finished adding the details with the caulking on the roof. I did like a little scallop design all over the roof. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same pearl beads from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to decorate the roof with them. Again, you can see I have my bead holder there, but it is not working with these beads. They seem to be quite slippery and are not gripping to my bead holder. So I'm going to do them one by one, picking them up with my hands, which is making me waste a lot of time. But again, this is the look that I'm going for, and I want this to come out as perfect as I envision it. So let's continue adding the beads as the decoration to the roof. So now that I finished with the roof, I'm going to take these sticker beads. They're also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use them to decorate the edge of the roof. And these are actually bigger, and they're going to be easier for me to work with because I'm going to hold them with a tweezer, and I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue on the back, and then I'm going to use them in alternating colors to decorate the edge of the house. So they look like some sort of candy. Let's continue finishing this part. So now that I've finished with the beads, I'm going to take some Mod Podge and some very fine aqua blue glitter. It's like a Tiffany blue. And I'm going to use it to give the windows and the door a little pop. Because right now they're looking a little boring to me. And I want them to have a little sparkle. So with a small brush, I'm just going to coat the frames of the window and the door. And then I'm going to add the glitter to them. So let's continue with this part. So now I'm almost done with the blue glitter. After this, I'm going to actually add some sparkle to the entire house using the fine white iridescent glitter. I did not record that part, but I'm going to use the same thing. I'm going to use Mod Podge, and I'm going to add the white glitter all over the house so it can have a little sparkle to it. And I am loving the way that this is looking. I am in love with my gingerbread house number 2. I hope you like it as well. If you want to see the full way of building this house, I'm going to link my first video that I did with my first house, which has the complete step-by-step in building the frame to make this gingerbread house. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell to get notified when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you all on my next DIY.